being named valedictorian has come to symbolize one of the highest honors one can achieve at high school. To express the sentiment and the loyalty of the MYP5 and DP2 class of 2021, may I now call upon the class valedictorians Anushka Kothuri and Aditya Munot. Please unmute your mics once again and put your hands together for these stellar school citizens. Anushka, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. A very good evening to our respected parents, distinguished teachers, head of secondary, head of school, and most importantly, the grade 10 graduating class of 2021. I want to express my immense gratitude for being given the opportunity to talk to all of you for what may be the last time. To be completely honest, while writing the speech, I stared at a blank document open on my laptop, looking for the perfect words to convey an ensemble of emotions that each of us feels seated here today. I wanted to talk about what sets us apart as a class. And what I realized, grade 10, is that we have created history. We are the first class to begin, finish, and graduate the year online. So what I want to talk to you about in these few minutes is overcoming obstacles. Martin Luther King once said, "Our very survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenge of change." I believe we as a class have lived up to the very essence of this quote. Our survival did indeed depend on our ability to stay awake and finish the countless number of personal project and portfolio reports. Most importantly, we accepted the sudden change in our lives and made the most out of it. Grade 10 is a rite of passage in the life of each student. Staying back at school to set up for personal project exhibitions and running up the stairs when the lifts were too slow are just some of the key moments in the life of every 10th grader. However, I don't want to talk of what could have been if the year was different. I've spent 5 years in Mount Litra, seeing us grow as a class. I am filled with pride to say that each one of us is a better person today than all those years ago. Our journey has been full of memories, some of which I'd like to highlight this evening. After a long 2 months of summer break, I remember going to school to collect my uniform. It was here that we met each other after a very long time. We'd acknowledge one another through a smile and a few sentences. Our parents, however, who'd met only 5 minutes ago, would be exchanging information like long-lost friends. And before we knew it, the first day of school had begun. It seems just yesterday that I walked into school to see Vishnu sir greeting each student cheerfully. Trying to avoid the teacher's eye and slowly sneaking into the back of the lift was just a part of everyone's daily routine. Days flew by, and before we knew it, the year was in full swing. Surprise tests every week and spending after-school clubs hiding in the washroom with your friends were probably secrets I shouldn't have revealed just now. After a never-ending cycle of assignments and formatives, it was finally time for annual day. Suddenly, the corridors echoed with footsteps of students running, stopping at the curbs only to check that no teacher could catch them. Singers rehearsed to perfection while dancers defied grace. Actors mesmerized us and the prop team transformed the school. Weeks of rehearsal raced by, and finally, it was the day of the show. Girls crowded in the bathroom to fix each other's makeup, while teachers suddenly became resource banks for hairpins and lipstick. While the run-throughs were always excellent, the final day was spectacular. However, being thoroughly drained from the show never stopped us from making plans with our friends after school. A few weeks of fun and excitement quickly came to an end, and exam season had begun. Staying up late and burning the midnight oil, calling each other for a last-minute revision, and of course, flooding the teachers with questions were an inevitable part of our exams. After what felt like forever, the last exam had ended. The next week was spent sleeping at 5 in the morning and waking up at 2 in the afternoon. However, our favorite part of the whole year was our school trips. Meeting our friends at the airport was definitely fun, but I'm sure everyone complained that it was at 6 in the morning. A week filled with late-night conversations, early morning museum visits, singing and snacking in the bus. The highlight was definitely disco night. We danced with people we hadn't spoken to the whole year, but it didn't matter because we all had a wonderful time. As we come to the end of what has been a magical journey, I want to thank Ms. Darshna and Ms. Sona, who made Y equals MX plus C relevant to the classroom. Ms. Shivani, who taught us that organized notes and colored pens are a path to perfection. Miss Pallavi and Miss Revati, who nurtured the literary spark in each of us. Miss Shalini, Mr. Rajaram, and Miss Jisha, who taught us that the only thing complicated about organic chemistry and astrophysics is the way you spell them. I want to thank Miss Kirti and Miss Vidhi, who showed us the world within the confines of their classroom. Every language teacher whose compassion helped us find familiarity in an unfamiliar script. I want to extend immense gratitude to Mr. Vishnu and Ms. Shawi, whose dedication, everlasting enthusiasm, and love for each of their students made all of our experience at the school unique. Be it going to Vishnu sir's office scared of what to expect, or walking to school to see his cheerful smile greet us, were just some defining moments of our experience at MLSI. There have been a countless number of teachers who've played a role in the way we define ourselves. While all these names couldn't be covered in these few minutes, each of them holds a special place in our hearts. We all owe the people we are today to the school that shaped and guided us through every obstacle. I can't express in words how lucky I am to sit among the dancers, singers, engineers, scientists, economists, and writers who will go on to redefine excellence. So thank you, Mount Litra, for allowing us to be part of a society, a community, and a family. With this, I come to the end of my speech as we come to the end of our time together. Grade 10 class of 2021, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Anushka, for that absolutely fantastic and memorable speech. Aditya, over to you.
Thank you. 2 years ago, I was at crossroads. My family and I were debating to choose to study in one of the world's most well-known and longest-running institutions, or to stay at a school which hadn't had a single IB graduated batch. 2 years later, I couldn't be more grateful for going for the latter. A very good evening to everyone present here, Mrs. Mohan, Mr. Kar, Mr. Sharma, Ms. Suzanne, parents, faculty members, and, well, ready for this, the first official graduating batch of MLSI, the class of 2021. It is my honor to deliver this speech to all of you. And before I start, I hope nobody gets disconnected because of Wi-Fi issues. Don't worry, this won't come in a paper one analysis tomorrow. We have all been waiting for this day since we walked into our IB classrooms, or even since the very start of our school days, wearing smart gowns and suits and walking down as they call out our names, and the most important one, throwing off our graduation hats. Well, that would have made for a few good Instagram posts like #grateful for graduation. But today the setting is only slightly different. The preview theater is, well, a Zoom call. The chairs and the podiums are these little screens. Well, the smart gowns and suits at least stay the same, but with pajamas below. The celebration confetti turned into Zoom reactions and text emojis. But what has certainly not changed is the joy. What has certainly not changed is the excitement. What has certainly not changed is the spirit of MLSI. And I can't thank this institution enough for that. MLSI, 4 letters that our out-of-school friends barely knew about, but who knew those very 4 letters would give us the best opportunities, guidance, resources for us to succeed, for the 9 of us sitting here. The last 5 years for me flew faster than all our I and E deadlines, and every little experience in this wonderful journey will always remain etched in our hearts forever. We need to remember that we have come a long way, and we have not only grown as students academically, but we have grown morally to become responsible citizens, responsible adults, responsible leaders, and it's all thanks to MLSI. Like, talking about growing up, we may all have added a few centimeters to our heights. The boys have gotten facial hair, well, except Arav. The studies became tougher, the stress over college admissions grew and grew, but what remained unaffected was the trust and bond between us and our teachers. I know for a fact that I can still walk up or now, well, call any teacher with the craziest of ideas, and they'll sit down with me and make it a reality. Well, our teachers have not only been faculty guiding us academically, but have been the best of mentors and friends too. We might always be asleep during Miss Jisha's homeroom time, but her enthusiasm would always be awake. Miss Darshana Jain's Bollywood references and test scores might give us Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. While Miss Vidhi was asking us to complete our CAS handbooks, we were busy playing dumb charades with Gautam sir. Well, Miss Cami, Miss Darshana Shah, Miss Neeta, I think it's finally time we confess. We did use a lot of Google Translate to complete a lot of our homeworks. Now that I'm thinking, I think I should have taken Miss Pallavi's advice and read a slight bit of Brad Philbot. Maybe the speech should have been 10 times better. Miss Shivani, I'm sorry for dropping out of bio, but I'm glad your Munot still found a way to work with you during council events. While Miss Sauli and Rajaram sir were giving us tough problems to solve, Miss Liz was always there for us to rant about our own problems. And finally, Miss Pragya and Franco sir got a chance to see the other side of her class in the school trip, and we hope we didn't disappoint you guys. Miss Suzanne had more sleepless nights than us worrying about our studies and our exams. And Vishnu sir, thank you for imbibing discipline so hard in us. It is still not easy to not check our shoelaces even while we are at home. And finally, just how the piglet always made sure of the poo, just how the piglet always took care of poo. Miss Mona made sure to give us the best of opportunities to help us succeed in life. I know I cannot name every single teacher, but each one of you have had a great impact on us, and your mark will always remain indelible to all of us. We are often known to be the experiment batch of MLSI, the first batch to graduate, so it's the experiment batch. Well, if that were to be true, today not only that experiment is successful, but the true credit goes to each one of our wonderful teachers, and deservingly so goes to each one of you. Right from the support staff in school, seeing Pandey sir is good, having Pandey sir saying the good morning the very first thing in the morning, to Cameron sir irritating Cameron sir to have school trophies, large posters for school events. Each one of you teachers, support staff, all have contributed so much to our own lives, and we just can't thank you enough for that. You truly are the ones who brought the best out of us. On a more personal note, what made my time at MLSI even more enjoyable was the amazing set of fellow students. As a senior most batch, we did have the responsibility to become role models, but who knew that in that very process, we would find inspiration in our juniors to work harder, work smarter. Be it the Mahabharata or the Wizard of Oz, where practicing lines was just an excuse to have gossip sessions, where the sports days where, well, Palash would never win, from Hyderabad to Andaman, making Tiwari sir singing songs, and well, games nights and tons of so many more events. It was a real joy and pleasure working with the younger grades. And when I say it, I truly mean it from the bottom of my heart. Hats off to the collaborative and enthusiastic nature of this student body. As a passing grade, we hope that this harmony is maintained and represents the school culture. Well, I've thanked MLSI, I've thanked teachers, the student body, but this speech cannot end without mentioning 8 people who have been the most exciting, crazy, supportive, but the best people I could have spent my high school years with. My parents asked me the other day, what are some things you'll miss after you graduate from high school? I didn't answer them back then, but I'd like to take this opportunity to answer them. I miss calling Rishita 1,000 times just so that she could shoot a music video for the school. I miss Sarah forcing me to click a billion pictures with her. I miss asking Meghna to please complete my design homework, it's due in an hour. Just joining Zoom calls to see Neil coming up with new names only to get banned from all of them. Ritayu only being available on Hangouts out of all social platforms. Staying up till 5 in the morning with Melvina trying to solve that one mechanics question and just be like, we can't do this. Bonding with Ayush over sports, music, and for the weirdest of reasons, Greek mythology, and attending Zoom calls to see which new filter Arav has, which new virtual background Arav has put in today. These 8 people have given me more than I can ever thank them for. And guys, we might not realize it, but we literally are creating history as the first graduating batch. Each one of you have inspired not only a few upcoming grades, but an entire school. Each one of you have led the entire student body to stand where it does today, and each one of you deserved to be the torchbearers of MLSI. From now on, we may be under different skies, but in our hearts, we know that we are just one click away from each other. On June 3rd, 2019, as a grade 10 valedictorian, I stood on the podium at the Privy Theatre and said that we are hitchhikers and a whole new galaxy was waiting for us 2 years down the line. Today, on May 29th, 2021, class of 2021, we did it. Yes, we did it. Now, as we go on to the next stage of our lives, I'll say it again. MLSI has given us the wings. Let's think the unthinkable. Let's do the undoable. This time, a whole new universe is waiting for us. Thank you and all the best.